Welcome to a highlight reel original production. My last day, final thoughts. Honourable mentions going out to anybody I never got to speak to or get a photo with on my last day. Just find me out on social media, we'll reconnect. And so we start with Richard Midcalf, my data validations protege. You probably got to see some nasty sides of me, mate. Being in close proximity to me during and towards the end of my time at Capita. I think you know deep down that that's not me. You've seen enough of the proper side of me to know that I was just in a bit of a bad place where I was, but none of it was ever your fault, pal. If I ever came across a bit sharp, or if I ever spoke to you, which maybe I shouldn't have spoke to you in a particular way, it was never nothing personal. It was all on me, and maybe I could have, had a bit more about me, but I didn't really know how to act. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. So yeah, we've worked up a bit of a working relationship in 4 or 5 months that you've been part of the company. But now you're the king of the castle. I've give the keys to you. You've got to look after the show now. I'm confident that you'll do as good a job to the ability that you can. You're a sound person, and after having a bit of time to speak to you and get to know you a bit better, um, I think it's justified that yeah, you are a decent person and hardworking, and you only want to do the best you can, which is an admirable quality, especially for people when you work for Capita. Stick at it, friend. Success will follow. I've tried to give you as much information. I've tried to pass down as much knowledge as I can. And I'm fairly confident you will succeed. So stick at it, mate. Greatness will follow for you. Next up, Adam Rowley. What a top guy you are. We go way back. You've been here pretty much the entire time I have. I'm not 100% on how long you've been there, mate. It may even be longer than me. Um, And from what I can see, you are pretty much what I was to data validations. You were to business support. I know that over the years you've had a lot of responsibility put on you and stuff, and you seem to have got through it on the other side, mate. So that's, more fair play to you than anything else. Them hugs you were knocking out in my last couple of days there, mate, were literally unreal. I was definitely feeling the love, and I'm sorry that I had to leave you. I know you were kind of begging me almost to stay. Obviously it was in jest, but I had to move on, mate. I had to move on. We've had some good banter along the years as well, and yeah, another top bloke. Maybe we didn't, you know, get to know each other as much as we should, just based on where we worked, and we didn't really have that much interaction. But when we did have the interaction, it was always good, and you're definitely one of the people that I'm gonna remember going forwards. That top top fella, top guy. I mean, banter incredible. Always had time for me. I always sort of try to go out my way and come and see you whenever I could and things like that. You'll do well, mate. Yep, I've got no qualms about that whatsoever. I don't think of anything. I can't think of any occasion when I've thought, you know what I mean, that was a bit out of order, or that was a bit, you've always been true and you've always been, sound. So I've got nothing but praise for you, and hopefully you have a successful career in whatever it is you choose to do. Michael Colling, mate, what a guy! What a guy you are! I remember when you first joined Capita and you came into the team and whatnot, and all the various roles you played within the company. Some of the crack we used to have back in Mowden Hall was literally lethal. I know it might seem like we might have been poking fun at you and stuff, Haley and Adam and I and others. It was never the case, mate. We were just, it was all in jest, everything we ever did and said. I saw the email that you sent as well, just before I literally got kicked out of Capita, got marched off the premises. That was a nice touch, mate. I appreciate the words you had to say. The feeling's pretty much mutual. It's never had any issues with you at all. Obviously, I know and have worked with your dad for quite some time, and he's done all right. He's done all right with you. You know that you can stick at it, you can work hard, and you can do whatever it is you want to do. Really. I hope you aren't in any kind of negative frame of mind in you where you are currently working. If that is the case, I mean, you've got the tools now. You've had the sort of experience in the job to be able to apply that elsewhere if you need to. And I'm not trying to get you to leave at all. That's not what I'm saying. But basically, I can see that you've grown as a person and that you've grown in your sort of abilities and your working attitude, so to speak. And what a nice guy you are. Possibly one of the most kind-hearted people I think I've ever come across in Capita. So don't change. Don't let anyone change you, mate. You be exactly what you are, and I can see nothing but success for you in the future, mate. Which brings us on to Mark Colling. Mark, we've worked together pretty much, I think, my entire time in Capita. You've obviously moved contracts and whatnot. We haven't been on the same team and whatnot, but private pensions days right back at the start, even before FAS, and then through FAS, you came through once the sort of private pensions banter ended, and we never had any problems. We were pretty much the dream team of validations, I think, and under your stewardship, the ship didn't deviate from the course. We got the work done, and I don't know if you were treated fairly in that position as spar of that team. I don't know, but come appraisal time, and that all you had for me was nothing but praise, nothing but kind words, nothing but respect, really. And I've always got a lot of time for you, as you can see when I've been sort of doing the rounds, so to speak, in Lingfield Point. I've always had time to come and see you, Mark. No qualms about it whatsoever. Top guy. You've given me so much sort of I can't really explain it. Just the sort of confidence possibly to kind of do what I do and maintain the level of professionalism and output that I always prided myself on as part of the data validations crew. And I know that you're also leaving Capita soon, so I wish you every success in your future role. I still haven't heard back yet from my interview, and there's a good chance that I may end up joining you when you go to your new job. If that's the case, I thoroughly look forward to it, and if not, then you would definitely be one of the people I'm probably going to miss the most, Mark, because you've always had time for me, and I've always got respect for you for that. So thank you. Following on from Mark, I saw Lisa Hetherington. Um, what a kind-hearted, polite kind of I don't know. I can't think of the words. There's too many that could be used to describe it, but only in positive ways. I've always tried to make an effort if I see you to kind of say hello because I can see that you're a decent person and down to earth. It's many conversations we've had over the years. It's clear to me that your head's screwed on and you're not in any way like a vindictive kind of I don't know. You're not you haven't got a bad bone in your body, and it's an admirable quality, and you've maintained that throughout my working time at Capita. You've obviously been there for a long time. I'm gonna have to get on to Phil as well because I didn't actually get a photo with Phil, your husband, Phil Hetherington. Phil, we had a little chat just before you left yesterday, and man. Some boy, been there a number of years, as you say, nearly triple the time I've been there, but the entire time I've been there, I could have come to you with anything. I could approach you, you would have time for me. If you could help me out, you would, and if you couldn't, you'd find someone who could. Um, Genuinely one of the sort of original kind of, I don't know, such a decent, down to earth sort of fella that we could talk about anything. I'd have as much time for you as you wanted. similarly with you, if I came to you, I know that you would sit and take the time and speak to me, and yeah, it's something that I'm going to take away with me that you were definitely one of the top people in Capita, and you should be proud of that, mate. And now we move on to Gail. Hello, Gail, my recent Snapchat streak buddy. I'm going to be honest with you, Gail. I wasn't so sure about you when you first kind of came onto the scene. But that's more down to me because we never really used to talk that much. And obviously you can only make opinions on what you know, and I didn't really know a lot about you, if I'm honest. But, and that's a massive but, now that we have actually got to know each other, wow, what a person you are. I remember you didn't have any hesitation in helping me out when I was having car issues, and you were like, "Yeah, I'll take you to work. I'll bring you back." You know what I mean? It was just like there was just straight away that to me, it's like, well, you wouldn't just do that for anybody. I mean, I don't know how you perceived me at the time, but like I was a little bit kind of cautious. I didn't really want to ask people like to sort of go out the way to help me, but it wasn't a problem for you. And literally, you've kind of got that attitude with people at work as well. You can help people, no problem. It's an admirable quality and one that is gonna stick in my mind that actually now, you know, when all's said and done, I'm gonna miss that kind of crack we had at work. Um, it's hard to walk away from people that as like such good people at heart. I know you're gonna sort things out with yourself. I know that you know things don't last forever, and definitely not when you're not so much in a good place. But I wish you nothing but happiness and success, girl. I'm going to try my hardest to keep our little Snapchat streak going for as long as possible, and I will definitely keep you up to date with how things go with me, and I hope that you would as well if things change for you. But yeah, one of the best in there. Don't ever forget it. Melissa Forrest, what can I say about you? One of the validation team crew from back in the day, back in Mountain Hall. Have had no problems working with you over the years whatsoever. You moved teams a little while ago, and that kind of meant we lost touch a little bit. We weren't chatty as much every day. Well, you go to work. If you just sit chatting around all day, you'll get people on your back, you know. And it's only recently that we've kind of reconnected, so to speak, and it's a shame, I think, because when you get to see the genuine side of people, the sort of sincere side of people, and especially when you've known them for so long, it makes you kind of regret not having all of that bit in the middle, if that makes sense, like the entire way through. Um, what a nice person. You've always had time for me. I remember you coming over and sort of having little chats with me when I wasn't feeling so hot. I was in a bad place mentally, and you having time for me, like it was helpful for me. It made me kind of think that there are decent people in this building that actually care about like what you're going through, and because they've been there for so long, and they want to see you kind of happy and do well, and it definitely helped us a lot, and I hope that I've been able to kind of reciprocate that when we've been having our little chats. If you've ever been, a bit down, a bit fed up, that I've kind of been able to turn that frown upside down for you, sort of thing. Um, what a genuine person you are. I'm definitely going to miss you. And I will do my best to keep in touch. I know you said we should do the Facebook thing, which I'm going to get onto soon, but you do what's right for you, Melissa, and you'll go far, 100%. Which brings us nicely on to Lee Laverick. Oh man, mate, what a top bloke you are. I completely underestimated you. And I think as you left yesterday, I kind of realized that we could have probably connected on such a deeper level that than we already have. And it's a little bit of regret for me that I don't think we probably did, uh, sort of hang out and have crack as much as we probably should have done. Again, this is primarily due to me, mate, because my head's been in weird places, and I just don't. get on with people sometimes, if that kind of makes sense. I just want to I'd be isolated and whatnot. And your outlook on things, it's refreshing. You've got that kind of frame of mind where it's like nothing's too much of a problem, and it's just all about fair treatment. It's all about how people treat you and how you expect to be treated. And I can't fault you, mate, other than the fact that you support Manchester United, and well, that's a different story altogether. But even still, we have banter and that about the football and sort of wrestling and boxing and things like that, and that's all good stuff, mate. You say to me that like you admired how the approach I took about trying to sort of better myself and make sure that I was looking after number one. And all I can say, mate, is the same advice back to you. If you're not in a good place and you think that it's time for a change, or things aren't working out for you, just take the bull by the horns. Genuinely, like a top guy, like I've got nothing but respect for you, and I can see why you're such a likable person because a lot of people I know and who know you kind of have the same kind of things to say about you, mate. Don't ever change, and you'll go to the top. I can guarantee you. So, Natalie Walker, you're up next, and wow, we go way back. We go way back like car seats, don't we? You know that. An ever constant on the finance team. One my time I've been there, but yeah, we've sat in close proximity and we've kind of had the banter from back in the day. But I've always got time for you, Natalie. The way I kind of used to do my walk into work, I'd always swing by you, and if you were about, I'd always, have a little stop and chat because you're such a kind-hearted, sort of genuine person that I've got all the time in the world for you. And in honesty, the other week there, you were a bit chewed up and you seemed a bit upset, and that was upsetting for me because like people that matter to me, I don't like to see them when they're in a bit of chew and they're in a bit of strife, and you seemed a bit cut up about it, and I try to give you as best advice I can. Um, Nothing but time for you, Natalie. Honestly, don't let people get you down and make you doubt yourself because in my eyes you could probably run the whole show, and I don't see why you should be getting stick for stuff that other people may or may not be doing. And don't ever let people bring you down. You've always been like kind to me. You've always had time for me, and it's a shame that I'm leaving you behind, so to speak, because I'll definitely remember the crack and the banter we've had over the years. Many times we've had little chats about stuff when you've come to get data pens, or I've had to come round your neck of the woods, and I would always do that. I would never cut you out of sort of my banter. So I wish you nothing but happiness and success for your future endeavours, and I hope that you achieve them. Mr. Craig Marshall, it would appear that I've got a friend for life in you, buddy. Aye, aye, we've had some good times. We've had some great times. Nothing but respect and admiration for you. A lot of people I know who know you would probably say the same thing. You would, without question, help anybody at any time with anything inside of work, outside of work. Such a down to earth bloke that it's a crying shame that I'm now leaving you, mate. If I'm honest, there's been many a time when I've been like in a bad place, and you can just bring me up by just saying one thing, which is a difficult skill to have. But we've been pretty much through the journey together, and yeah, it's coming to an end now. So hopefully you've learnt some stuff from me over the time that you can carry forward and use in your career, be it with Capita or otherwise. I'm definitely going to be keeping in touch with you, mate. And I know that you're going to be around next week to have a little catch up, that kind of thing. Long may that continue because I definitely want to be involved with you and yours going forward. Uh, yeah, what a top guy. Ask anyone. anyone in there, they'll say the exact same thing. Um, yeah, but I had to move on, and leaving you behind was probably one of the hardest things to do, but it had to be done. So thanks for everything. Adam Hatton, mate. We move on to you now. What can I say about you? Um, I've seen you develop and move through the sort of ranks, so to speak. You joined the validations team back in Mowden Hall with Craig White. That is not Craig Marshall. And you always had a hunger to want to, do more, work more, expand, that kind of thing. Build your experience, and look at where it's got you now. I mean, look at where you are. I'm not actually 100% sure of your job role on the department you're on, and that's my bad. I should probably know. But I mean, top bloke. You've always had crack with me. You've always had banter with me. There might have been times where I've been a bit of, you know, unjust, and maybe I don't know. Maybe there's been times when you've thought, oh, Aaron, what an idiot he is. But honestly, mate, I can't say anything but positive things about you. You've always had that can-do mentality, and it's going to get you far. It's going to take you places. I can guarantee you that. Never look back, only forwards. Only look back when you're thinking about the good times, because there were definitely a lot of those, and a valuable asset to either Capita or any company you choose to work for, because you've got the right approach to it and your head screwed on, and um, yeah, it's going to be a shame that we don't get to have any banter anymore. I know we haven't spoke for a long time, and it's normally just in passing through the corridor when it comes to going for lunch. But no, I've got respect for you, and what you've done, and what you can possibly achieve. So don't uh, don't live in the past. Just keep on going, mate, and you'll get to where you want to be. I can guarantee it. So Becky Binks, this brings us on to you, and by proxy Chris as well. I didn't actually manage to get a photo with Chris, but I'll get you both in this little bit of commentary. You reminded me when I came to see you about the Triple X party. That's how far we go back. We go back all the way, and yeah, I mean that party was epic. That's still top three, as I was mentioning to you before I left, that of all time, like literally of all time. But you've always had time for me, Becky, and you've always been polite. You've always had a smile on your face. You've always been happy, and I don't really recall any times when you've been unhappy. At least I couldn't see it, and you've never shown it to me. And that's an admirable quality in people that you don't really get nowadays. It's been a pleasure the entire time. I know you've kind of not been around so much recently, being down the other end of the building and that, but I often do try and say hi when we would pass and whatever. And it's been a pleasure working with you. I'm definitely going to take moments from our experiences working together forward with me when I do get a new job sorted out and whatnot. And yeah, it's refreshing to find someone with like a positive outlook such as yourself. Um, it's really opened my eyes as well, uh, because I have issues with like sort of projecting a positive image sometimes. So thanks for that. And Chris, it's gonna have to be a short one, but Chris, top bloke, nothing but respect for you. You're gonna go all the way, and yeah, awesome, mate. Great times we've had. Nicola Leaf, the ever happy, ever smiley Nicola. We've had a little bit of time working together, various parts of the business, various times, and yeah, you've got an infectious personality that not a lot of people seem to have. Um, you've got that kind of bubbly, kind of happy attitude. I know there's times when things aren't going well, and and stuff. But I mean, some people show it better than others, and some people just kind of don't show it at all. And you'd probably fall into the latter category. Um, yeah, I've got a lot of time for you. We had a little kind of reconnect the other day when you sat next to me, and I mean, we were talking about some fairly adult conversations. You seem to have your head screwed on and have a clear plan of what you want and what you want to achieve and how you want to get there. And I mean, yeah, that's definitely where you want to be. I've got nothing but time for you, and I'd like to think it was the same way that if I ever wanted to speak to you about anything, there'd be no hesitation. What a lovely person. It's it's refreshing to see such positivity on a daily basis. Doesn't seem to matter what the task is, what the issue is. You always had that attitude, and it's a good thing. And you're a decent person that I don't know if people fully appreciate. That might just be me. I might be doing you a disservice. I wish you all the best in your future plans alongside Adam as well, because you're definitely are a thing. And I've got not like I only wish you happiness because I think that's what you deserve. You deserve happiness, and ultimately, I think you will get there. So all the best for the future. Siobhan O'Hanlon, or it might be Siobhan. I'm not 100% actually sure how you pronounce that. I may have said that wrong, and if I have, I apologize. We only recently really kind of got down to it, like speaking to each other. I've obviously known you and seen you about the entire time, but different departments, we never really kind of interacted that much. But I mean, wow, what a person you are. I mean, our recent conversations resonate in on a level that like I don't think anyone else really I had that with, and it was it was good for me. I could see that other people were possibly in the same situation as I was, but the way that your outlook on things and your attitude and stuff, it was definitely something that I've took on board. And I mean, possibly photo of the day. I mean, the audacity to take my shades, my sunglasses, and wear them in my photo. Wow, that took some bottle, and you got respect for it from me. So yeah, I mean, please keep me updated with how you things get on with you. I'll be very interested to know, and I definitely would like to keep updated with things once your notice expires from Capita. I aim to keep everybody updated with my progress and stuff. So yeah, what a refreshing individual you are. I kind of regret not really um speaking to you much prior than the last sort of couple of weeks because I think it may have changed my perception of you slightly. It was never a bad perception, but obviously when you don't know someone, you don't know someone. And now that I kind of do know you a bit, I'd kind of wished I'd known you for a little bit longer. But yeah, I wish you every success in the future. And as I say, keep me updated with how things go. So, Lindsay Eltringham, we move on to you. And how did we not know our mutual friend way before we did? And like act on that and be more friendly to each other because it is a bit of a regret for me that we didn't really speak much before. I mean, it all seems to be once the whole notice thing's coming, I've kind of discovered things about people that I didn't actually know, and wow, what a person you are! You've really opened my eyes. What a strong personality you have, and you've got to follow your sort of heart really, and if your heart's not happy where you are and what you're doing and stuff, you've got to take the measures to sort that out. I feel like I could come and speak to you about anything at any time and it wouldn't be a problem, and a lot of people don't really have that kind of personality, and it's good. It's a good thing to have. You've always had the time for me, and now that we know that we are kind of inexplicably linked through our mutual friend and where we live, we both kind of live in the same town. I'd like to think that we would speak a bit now that I've gone, like keep in touch and that kind of thing, because it would be a shame, I feel, that now that we've kind of got this friendship, this bond sort of thing going on, that it were to then just sort of peter off into nothing again. I'm definitely wanting to know how you get on with things now that I've gone, because obviously I can't speak to you on a daily basis. But please keep me informed. Just however you can, Facebook, Snapchat, send me a comment, send me a message, whatever. Really pleasant person, and I've got nothing but respect for you, Lindsay. I wish you everything, all the happiness in the future. Jasmine Vardy, what a fantastic young woman you are. Um, kind of seen your rise to superstardom through the company. I remember seeing you when you were sort of first sort of on the scene, and then I seen you then doing your little spa things, and then moving on to bigger and better things, and now look at you. The sky's the limit for you, Jasmine. It really is. Such a polite, kind-hearted individual that I know we have sort of had banter and that along the years that we've worked together, but it's only really been recently that it's kind of resonated more with me. Um, I can't fault you on anything. You've always had time for me. You've always tried to help if you can. If you can't, you would sort it out. You've got the right approach, I think, to what you do, and that's half of the battle. It's all very well and good delivering on sort of your contractual obligations, but if people hate you, it's not worth it. You're doing something wrong, and I don't know anyone who I've worked with who's ever said a bad word about you, Jasmine. And I can see why, because you really have one of those kind of infectious personalities that you just want more and more and more of it, or at least that's how I felt. Anytime I could have any kind of conversation with you, and you'd have the time to listen to me and take stuff on board that I'm saying, which was kind of helping me as well at the time. I needed people to talk to sometimes, and you never turn me away. I wish you nothing but happiness and success in your future. I think you deserve it. You work hard, and I think you should be rewarded for it. And I'm a little bit sad that I'm leaving you behind, but I know we'll keep in touch. So please, don't fade into the distance. I couldn't do any kind of piece without including Louise McIntyre. Louise, you've been working around the same time as Craig, as I believe you started together, and you basically run the show now. So that just shows you what you can achieve with yourself. We go way back, and I like to think that I've known you longer as my friend than you've been my boss, if that kind of makes sense. I think we've always had a good working relationship, and I've always like tried my best to get results. And I think you probably more than all of the others would realize what I was about and what I contributed to the business. And yeah, it's sad that it's come down to me having to leave to try and pursue other things. But I'll definitely never forget the times we've had. We've had some barn burners, so to speak. The parties round your house, they were epic. All the crack that was going down with that, they were epic. I can talk to you about anything, and I want to say thanks for that, because you've always offered, you've always been there and said that if there's anything you need or there's anything you want, I'll definitely like help. And uh, even the other day when I was really, 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 really angry, you kind of took the time and diffused the situation and things like that. Um, People might not know the side to you that I do, and they only see the work Louise, but I know the real Louise, and I'm gonna miss you. Aye, we've had a great time together, and I'm not gonna forget you in a hurry. That's for sure. Thanks for everything. Samantha Trowels. He's another one that goes all the way back pretty much. We've worked together a long time, or at least I've worked in the same company for a long time. It's only really been recently that I managed to find out the real you. It was an eye opener, in all honesty, Sam. when me and Craig kind of got bandied onto your little team on the FAS transaction processing slash bereavement crew. Out of all the managers I think I've been under, I have the most regrets because we spent the least amount of time professionally. Um, and in all fairness, you were probably one of the managers that I would have wanted to have a extended working relationship with, so to speak. Um, I could see from where I was that you had all the tools. You had the right attitude, you had the right way to deal with people, and were always open and approachable and helpful as much as possible. But then you went and moved, didn't you? You went and tried to better yourself, so to speak. Now, I'm only joking, Sam. You did the right thing. It was the best thing for you, and I hope that you don't think it was a mistake in any way, and that because I don't think it was. I think it was probably what you needed. You needed that bit extra responsibility, and I know you did have a lot of responsibility working on the FAD side of things, but it's probably the most regretful that we never really got to try and decipher the enigma that was Aaron Catmull because other managers had tried, other managers had failed and got shouted at. Um, I don't think I would give you the professional disservice to ever shout at you or be angry at you. So please keep in touch, Sam. I definitely want to be updated with how things go. Richard Stevenson, another one that is a long-serving employee of Capita. You've held many positions, as what I know, and when I've had to have dealings with you in a professional manner, you've always sort of got the end result, no matter how hard the task. And I mean, there's been some difficult ones over the years that you've kind of been involved with that I thought to myself, "Boof, there's no chance I'd want anything to do with that," you know. And you always had that kind of attitude that it didn't matter if it was the hardest thing or the easiest thing, you'd always give 100%, which is probably why you've been so successful, you know. You've had, I think, a great run within the company, and it would be a loss to Capita if you were to ever leave because you've got that kind of, as I say, attitude to work, but also with other people as well. Um, you can always relate and get on with people and get the best out of people, and I can't fault you, Richard. I really can't. We've obviously had a bit more crack recently now that Richard Midcalf, two Richards, is on the scene, and obviously user friends as well, so that we've all kind of got together through that, I suppose. And what was it I said to you as I was literally leaving the building? I saw you kind of shouted over at you, top guy, because in my opinion, you are, and I'm definitely going to want to keep in touch with you, mate, because as I say, I've got plenty of time for you. Genuine sort of hard work and honest people are what it's all about, and pretentious, fake kind of people that are just single-minded and don't have any kind of positiveness in their bodies. I'm not interested in. So I wish you all the best, mate. Beth Lewis, I'm really, really glad that I got to see you on the last day. We've had some times, we go back as well, and my overriding memory that I think will be of you is that you don't ever seem to really be down about anything. You don't really seem to let things get on top of you so much to the point where it changes your demeanor. You've always had that kind of happy-go-lucky sort of attitude, and it's something that I've really liked about you. I could come over and speak to you about anything, and you'd always have time, and you'd always have that kind of banter with us that I don't know if you had with anybody else. I don't know if it was just me, but it definitely resonated with me. And I mean, just the reaction from you when I came to see you and told you it was my last day, you were kind of like in shock. Um, yeah, so I'm really glad that I got to see you and we got to take a photo. I know we've had discussions recently where it may be that some stuff might need to happen in your life, and all I can say is you've got to do what you've got to do, and I've got no hesitation in thinking that if it were to remain within Capita or externally, you would achieve success because look at what you've done in the time you've been here. You've kind of worked your way to every position that you've got, and it's through hard work, and people can't deny that you put the work in, and just a genuinely nice person that I've always had an affinity with. It's a shame that we're no longer going to be work colleagues. You're definitely one of the good ones, and I wish you all the happiness for the future, Beth. I really do. Which brings us on to Jacoa Mains. Wow, Jacoa, we really haven't worked that long together, but what an impact you've made on me. I can't quite put my finger on it if I'm honest. You've got a personality that it doesn't it doesn't have any sort of flaws really. I know we've spoke sometimes out of work and stuff, and I can see that there is another side to you, which obviously there is, but at work and whatnot, I mean the banter's unbelievable. Like I can't really, like I say, put my finger on it. Um, it's good. You're a pleasant, polite sort of person that nothing seems to be too much, and you can see sometimes you get a little bit kind of under the cosh and whatnot, but you're still smiling and you've still got that kind of bubbly attitude, and it's a shame that we've only worked for a small amount of time, if I'm honest. I would have liked to have continued our working relationship because there was times when I was a little bit kind of in a bad place, and I could just have a little chat to you, and then I'd be all right if that kind of makes sense. I'd feel better, and I think it was just it's just you. That's just who you are. That's what I've kind of took from it. That you've got time for people, and that you're a genuine person and sincere, and that's what I'm going to take away. I think from our time working together. Um, yeah, I'd like it if we could keep in touch after now I've gone, because we all know what I'm going to remember you for, right? I was definitely sure to make sure that I told you that before I left. The number one thing I'm going to remember from our time together. I'll not say it on here, but you know what it is. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Jacoa. It really has. So Gemma, it comes to you, and again, similar to Jacoa, we have only worked together for a short period of time. And it kind of falls into similar categories when you don't really speak to people that much. You kind of don't really know much about them and what they're about and how to take them and that sort of thing. And I think that might have been what kind of happened with me and you in that we didn't really kind of speak, although we were working on the same kind of team and we're in reasonable close proximity. We didn't really interact that much. Team meetings and things like that were probably the only sort of time we really got to sort of see each other close up. And I think I was a little bit taken aback at first, like you don't quite know how to take somebody. But now that we have managed to break the barriers and get to know each other a bit and have a bit of chat, about the sort of Fitbit stuff, we've got going on, things like that. Yeah, I can see what you're all about now, and you kind of say like people can take it or leave it, and that sort of thing. And if they don't like you, then that's their problem and not yours. And I get what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. And I think I have a better appreciation now of how to kind of how to take that information. It doesn't sound like I'm being positive, but it's the only thing I can sort of say really, and I don't mean it to come across negative. Now that I know you more than I used to, I definitely like have a better understanding of what you're all about, and I think it's admirable that you have that kind of personality and approach really that you don't really want to change for other people, and why should you? You shouldn't. It's a good thing. I hope things work out for you at Capita. I really do, because sometimes it doesn't look as though it's going that well. But again, I wish you all the best. Reshma Patel, I think you were possibly the only person out of all the people I took a photo with that made me take it again because you weren't happy with it and you were like, get rid of it, take another one. That wasn't good enough. That's typical Resh. We go way back as well. I think I started just before you did, maybe a year or so. I don't know. I can't actually remember if I'm honest. It's been that long. And there's times when we haven't spoke for a prolonged period of time, and yeah, it was probably not the best on my side. I thought you were moving away. I thought you were moving to Africa and doing all that stuff. You had plans, and as far as I was concerned, that was it. You were gone. But then you didn't leave, and then I was expecting you to leave, and you didn't. And I think we kind of lost touch a bit. But wow, I mean, we've had some good times, right? Hi. Aye, have we? We used to do the lunch thing, and we've had times around your flat, and other times out at the Brinkburn doing things like that. Um, yeah, you're a quirky one, Resh. I'll give you that, and you've pushed me to my limits sometimes. Some of the things you say and some of the things you do, I just couldn't comprehend, and literally wanted to start banging my head off the nearest wall because it just didn't seem real. It was a really surreal experience, but. One of my longest serving friends I've had in Capita, and we're definitely going to keep in touch, Resh. That's a guarantee. Um, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure working with you, and let me know how you get on with things in your life, work wise and otherwise, because I do want to keep in touch, and I do want to know what's going on with you. So thanks for the memories, Resh. Lisa Bazanka, I'm glad that I managed to see you on the final day as well. Granted, we almost missed each other. I almost didn't get to see you, but I'm glad that I did. Um, we've often had conversations about stuff, and we go back a little while now. Must be a number of years. Um, Things like parties around Louise and stuff like that. Obviously friends on Facebook and all that kind of thing. You've got a personality that it's kind of I didn't think anyone could be any more laid back than me, and that was some of the times the message that I was getting from you. I mean, you were very calm all the time. You got a very calm demeanor, and you never kind of got worked up about things. You never kind of, you know, lost your blew your top and went off it and things like that. And it's good. It's good. It's a positive thing in my eyes that people can have that kind of self-control even when things aren't going so well. You're still smiling. You're still helpful to people. You've always been helpful to me. You know, I could come round to see you anytime, and it be at work or otherwise, and you'd have time for me. So, and likewise with me to you, if you ever needed to speak to me about anything or you ever wanted anything from me, I'm more than happy to help you. You know what I mean? More than happy. I know we've done some stuff with the Fitbit as well at work, going around work and stuff, trying to keep motivated in things that I'm doing, and me likewise with you, trying to help you with things that you're doing, and yeah, I mean, I wish you all the best, Lisa. Hopefully things kind of turn around, and I know things haven't been so great lately, but hopefully things turn around for you. I really do, because when good things happen to good people, that's the best result, that's where everybody wants to be, and I think you're gonna get there. It might take a little while, but I think you're gonna get there, Lisa. So I wish you all the best. And so we move now on to Laura Weaver from the technical team. Laura, I managed to catch up with you eventually in the end today. I know that it's been busy for me. It's always busy for the tech crew, and you have a major role to play, excuse me, in the tech crew. In that you know what you're talking about. You've been here a long time, the same, well, similar length of time to me, a long time, and yeah, I mean, you run a tight ship. You know what I mean. It's got to be done for the good of the company, I suppose. But yeah, yeah. I mean, from what I've seen, more than competent to probably even be running the tech team if one Mr. Stuart Foster wasn't around. But well, you know what Stu's like. Stuart, mate, I didn't get a photo with you, but we did speak, so I'm not going to go too much into that with you. But you've got the right attitude, Laura, to succeed, and it's evidence in the fact in that you've come so far, and the company's in the position it is. I feel it could have been in a lot worse position, if people like yourself weren't so committed to the cause, weren't so thorough in your approach, and weren't so driven to get the right outcome, be it for the customer, for the company, liaising with clients, liaising with third parties to get sure that the work gets done and that the right outcome is achieved. And it's what you look for in a person, Laura, that kind of committed drive, that kind of dedication to the cause. It's something that you don't get a lot of nowadays, and it's a credit to you that you have these attributes. So keep working at it, Laura. Keep going. Don't ever stop. Always look forward, and success will follow for you. Which leads us on to Mr. Mark McConnell, one of the few people that I know who have worked at Capita, left, and then came back again. And you're in an exclusive group there, my friend. There's not very many people I know, especially who still work there, who've already left once before. You may be like two or three people potentially. We've obviously worked for both stints together. The first one being a little while back in the old Mowden Hall days when you were part of the little crew that we had, the sort of, I don't even know what kind of crew it was, the IT kind of, MI kind of crew, maybe? Before Time Tracker was a thing, them days, back in the good old days, Mark. You'll know how it used to be. But from what I can gather, you're a very knowledgeable person, Mark. You've come in to do a job, and you can do it from what I see and what I know, like blindfolded, hands on behind your back kind of thing. You're an asset to the company, I think, and it would be a fool to allow you to leave again, because I feel that the good chance that they would struggle without your input. Things come to you, you always either forward it on to people that, this needs doing, that needs doing, we've got deadlines, and you kind of instigate this kind of thing. So it's a credit to you that you've got that ethos in place, Mark. You're a hard-working person, and I've got no doubt that you keep up that attitude and you keep up that sort of motivation and that kind of application to the job, then you've got a job there for as long as you want to be there. Yeah, top bloke. We've spoke recently as well. Now that I've now gone, and I've got to know you a little bit more, and it's just a nice guy, just a nice generalized top guy. So I wish you all the best, Mark, for the future. Which brings us on to the final photo of this little piece, and last but by certainly no means least, we've got Bryony Scott, Bryony Amber Scott. We had a nice little conversation, Bryony, just as the day was drawn to a close. I think I actually spent a little bit longer time speaking with you than I did with some of the other people that I managed to catch throughout the day. Um, yeah, we go way back as well. I remember you were saying I started on a 3 month fixed term contract, and I was like, yeah, now look at you, you're running like various contracts. You're the manager of these various things, and it just goes to show that hard work and effort, dedication to the cause, you've had to grind all the way from the bottom, so to speak, and you get to these little positions, you get to the next level, and then you get to the next level, and you take all that experience with you, Bryony. All the power to you. I haven't really worked under you for a little while because, as I say, you're on that different contract, but you run a tight ship, and you're drawing on all this experience that you've had from various positions in FAS, various different departments, and it's a great thing. I really enjoyed our little conversation that we had before because it just brought it back down to reality, It wasn't any kind of political nonsense. It was just two people that have known each other for a long time that were just sort of saying goodbye, and it was a nice conversation, and I'm glad that I managed to catch you before I left. So yeah, Bryony, unbelievable, unbelievable. It's been a pleasure working with you over these years, and I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to go on from strength to strength and potentially end up running one of these contracts in there. So I wish you and Chris Binks all the best for the future.
So those were just a few words from me. Just going for my last day. that I felt I wanted to put out there to people because I think it deserved to be heard. None of it was meant as, an offensive gesture, or none of this is meant in any negativity. Well, you can see it's not meant in any negativity. But yeah, I just felt like I needed to get it out there so that people knew the score, basically. That's all from me. If you want to get in touch, you know what to do. Find me out, social media, that kind of good thing. Feel free to leave comments on the video. I'll definitely get in touch with people who do. And that's a wrap from me. I wish everybody the best. I'll be in touch.